How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Ryan Garcia, and today we want to discuss how the Yankees can get the hell out of their current situation because right now we're staring down the barrel of one of the biggest collapses in MLB history. Straight up, the Yankees were expected to break 100 wins by far, maybe even push beyond 110, and now we're like, are they even going to reach 90 wins? We're 4 games above the Rays in the AL East. 6 games above the Toronto Blue Jays and 7.5. Even the freaking Orioles are within striking distance of us now. Like 7.5 games with the way the Yankees are playing. They've lost 3 straight. The Orioles have won 4 straight. I'm like, damn, like the Orioles might freaking beat us. Like, I'm worried. And they do have a lot of impact players currently on the injured list. You know, we're talking about Harrison Bader, Severino Cortez, Matt Carpenter, now Benintendi. This is not a good situation for the Bombers, and they were relying on a lot of young guys. You know, Cabrera, obviously, Peraza played yesterday. It takes time for these guys to ramp up, but seeing Josh Donaldson and Aaron Hicks in the lineup at the same time, like physically freaking hurts my soul. Like physically, like I feel ill. Like I feel like screw COVID. The new freaking illness is seeing Josh Donaldson and Aaron Hicks in the freaking lineup. And now I'm trying to figure out, how could the Yankees get out of this? And in my opinion, there's only 2 ways, right? There's only 2 ways the Yankees get out of this current funk. They get exponentially healthier over the next month, or they elevate their confidence to a level that is reminiscent of the first half of the season. They look like they're sulking. They're somber. They're holding their heads down. The only guy who freaking cares is Aaron Judge right now, seemingly. Only one that's hitting homers, anyone that's putting points on the board. And for the record, I do not like the idea of leading off with Judge because you ruin any opportunity for him to get runners on base for him to hit homers. Like I don't really get the mentality behind batting Judge leadoff. I'd love to hear your perspective on this, what you think is going on with the team and how you think they can get out of this right now, because right now I don't see a way out unless some pretty tremendous changes happen over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, here's the reality of the situation with the New York Yankees. These are games they've needed to win, and they haven't won them, right? They haven't scored at all. We've scored 1 run in the combined 2 games against Tampa, and the 1 run came off an Aaron Judge home run. He is the offense right now. This is not a team that is playing, even at a playoff caliber level, right? If they were to somehow manage to hang on and win the division, what gives you confidence that they're going to go out and beat a surging Seattle Mariners team or red hot Cleveland Guardians team in the first round in the American League Divisional Series? The pitching's fine. The pitching's been really good, right? The bullpen's loaded despite injuries. The rotation's still pretty loaded despite injuries, right? Like this is a really good pitching team. They just can't hit. Everyone forgot how to hit. It's kind of incredible to witness, right? I mean, LeMahieu goes from reliable back to where he was before to is a 0 WRC plus since August. That doesn't mean he's like league average or bad. It means he's 100% worse than the league average hitter. He is as bad as it gets. I'm pretty sure Hicks has like a 5 or a 12, which is like 80 to 90% worse than league average hitter. Donaldson stinks right now. Glaber stinks right now. It doesn't even matter. Like there's not a single player that isn't named Aaron Judge that's doing anything in the lineup. You can't win like that. I mean, it's hard to really even put anything other than this team needs to figure out how to get offense with someone not named Aaron Judge. This team's offense since the start of August it's been embarrassing, right? That's the only word I can use. Embarrassing. It's been underwhelming or disappointing. It's embarrassing. There's levels to it's just embarrassing. It's not like the Yankees have been, the Rays are the first team they faced, in this slump in the last couple of weeks that really strikes me as a good pitching team. They couldn't beat up on Oakland starters. They couldn't beat up on Los Angeles. They couldn't beat up on anyone. They are hitting 214 with a 289 on base and 344 slugging percentage at the start of August. They are a worse offense than the Cincinnati Reds, the worst offense than the Cubs, than Oakland, than Kansas City, than Washington, than Arizona. This is a bad baseball team right now in terms of offense. They are bad. Really freaking bad. And it doesn't make it any better that they're one of the worst. They are the second worst base running team since August. Negative 4.2 base running value. They just do so much bad in terms of offense. They've been caught 10 times stealing and only have 11 stolen bases. They have them tied for the most caught stealings, and they only have 11 stolen bases. So they're running the bases aggressively, but they're not stealing bases. They're getting caught. They're getting thrown out. They're just so bad. I'm trying to wrap my head around these numbers right now. They're the third worst in win probability at as an offense. So in clutch situations, they're terrible. Regular situations, they're terrible. Base stealing, they're terrible. Home runs, they're terrible. On base skills, they're terrible. They're terrible at everything at the plate right now. And it's not just injuries. It's everyone is slumping outside of Aaron Judge since August. And man, it's tough. I don't really know where you can't just break out of it in one game. It takes a long, it's okay. You play consistently for a week, 2 weeks. It's like this team plays, they were won, I believe, 5 out of 6 in a certain stretch, combine those Oakland games. And I believe another series they had played beforehand, they had gotten themselves on a roll a little bit and boom, they're gone. They're back to being terrible. It's embarrassing. It really is. And I don't know what else to say about this team because they're playing with zero passion, zero fire. They look like last year's team. Look at the positions of need. Center field's pretty bad right now. I know they got Bader, but he's not back yet. Hicks is a bad center fielder. You look at shortstop position in need, right? ICAF's not doing it for you. How many shortstops were available in the offseason? Because unless I'm forgetting, if I'm not remembering this correctly, I'm pretty sure Carlos Correa, a World Series MVP, and Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Trevor Story. How many of these guys were available at the Yankees decide not to sign? How many outfielders were available at the Yankees decide to sign? Starling Marte, Jock Peterson, Mark Canha, Kyle Schwarber. How many of those guys do you think could help this Yankee offense right now? Because I'd say almost all of them would be a massive improvement over what the Yankees have right now. So we knew the Yankees had an outfield issue. We knew the Yankees had a shortstop issue. The Yankees did not give a major league contract to any outfielder or shortstop in the offseason. General Manager Brian Cashman explicitly states these positions as positions of need and doesn't do anything to drastically improve it. The big money we spent was on Josh Donaldson. I want people to understand the big money the New York Yankees spent in an offseason with generational position player talent out there. Corey Seager might go into the Hall of Fame. Carlos Correa might go into the Hall of Fame. That's the big money you spent. Josh Donaldson. So, I mean, look, I don't think Hal Steinbrenner is the best in terms of, spending all the revenue spending a lot of the revenue the Yankees generate. But you know what? $262 million should be enough to compete with the Dodgers and the Mets and be as good as them in terms of roster talent. And this team's not. It's not. So, this is a roster that had flaws coming into the season. They were able to overperform them. Veterans like Carpenter kind of carried the things we couldn't really do with Josh Donaldson. Trevino saved our asses in the catching regard. We're going to go with it with Vet and Higgy and try to win games, and that wasn't going to work, obviously. So, it's very frustrating, but hopefully, the offense, it's just the offense at this point. You got to hit.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've scored 3 runs or less in 7 of the last 8 games. That's not, it's not feasible for a playoff team. And I think, Aaron Boone going all crazy and, freaking out and saying it's embarrassing and it's warranted. But at some point, we have to look at Aaron Boone and say, hey, man, this is your fault too. I know you can't bat for these guys, but good managers find ways to drag their players out of the mud when they're down like this. You know what I mean? Good managers know how to get the most out of their players the entire season, not just the first half. The Yankees do this every season. They look good in the first half and they collapse in the second half, whether it be due to injury, whether it be due to just a poor hitting. Look, some of these guys are not hurt. They're just playing bad. And when you have that going on, you look to management. You say, hey, there's something going on in terms of your style, your strategy, your coaching, scheme. It's all just kind of a shit show. I really have to say it's disappointing up to this point, but I don't necessarily know what the Yankees should do up to this point, aside from find their way out of it. They have to work their way out of this current stretch because it's really confidence based. You know what I mean? It always baseball is a confidence based game, and they look like they're sulking. They look like they've already lost the lead in the AL East. And Stanton kept saying, we have a couple more weeks here and we have an opportunity to decide our own destiny. And Aaron Boone keeps saying, we have a chance to grab, our opportunity and make something of it and do something with it. And it's not enough. You know what I mean? They're trying to chew gum as a way to get out of their cold streak right now, guys. They're trying different stupid ass measures in the clubhouse. Everyone chew gum. Everyone chew gum. Everybody do this. Everybody give high five. They're trying to bewitch their fucking way out of this situation right now. You're not even looking at realistic, non-superficial ways to get out of a slump. They're chewing gum to get out of a cold streak, guys. This is ridiculous. This is a professional baseball team. These are guys that are getting paid tens of millions of dollars to hit a ball, and they've been doing it their entire lives, and suddenly they're incapable all at once. That's a management problem. That doesn't happen to good teams. You know what I mean? And I'm Ryan, I'm sure you agree. Like good teams, the entire team does not go cold for this long. This doesn't happen to better teams. This is a management issue. You know what I mean? Like this is something going on with Boone. He cannot motivate his squad, and that's freaking depressing to realize.
Yeah, and you know what? I think you talked about how Boone, he's not putting his team in the best position to win. Look at the lineup tonight, or for the afternoon. Peraza's playing second base, and IKF's playing shortstop. What has IKF done to warrant playing his shortstop position? He just cost the New York Yankees an entire baseball game playing his position. So why does Oswald Peraza not get the reins at shortstop? That's BS to me. BS to me. So ultimately, if we want to sit back and say, I don't get me wrong, Glaber isn't playing great either, but Peraza should be my shortstop, right? You move IKF to second base or third base if you'd like to. The Yankees shortstop should be Oswald Peraza. And then, again, pointing it back to general manager Brian Cashman here, this is the third straight season that the New York Yankees are potentially going to not win the American League East, right? This is not acceptable, right? You're the New York Yankees. You have the financial resources. I tweeted about this before. How many times are the Dodgers and Astros not the best or second best team in the American or National League? The Astros in the American League, of course, Dodgers in the National League. How many times are they not at least the second best team in that league? Doesn't happen very often. Since 2017, I'm pretty sure I can confidently say every single season they're at least the best or second best team in the National League for the Dodgers, or the first or second best team in the American League. How many times have the Yankees been the second best team in the American League? Because they've never been the best team in the American League. How many times have they been the second best team? 2019, and that's it. 2020, no. 2021, no. 2022, maybe. It doesn't look like it right now. So, all I ask is for Brian Cashman, like, how many GMs could succeed with $262 million, a great farm, Aaron freaking Judge? I mean, how many general managers would love to have that job, go out and not have off seasons that are underwhelming? Look at these off seasons are just underwhelming. This team is consistently missing pieces they desperately need. We always look to the off season because this team is always missing something. Again, I'm not saying the Dodgers are perfect. The Astros are perfect. But damn it, the flaws that they have, whatever flaws they have, fix themselves during a season. Or you know what? They have such great depth that they can replace whatever they lose. The Dodgers lost Trevor Bauer to a suspension, Max Scherzer to free agency, Walker Buehler to a damn he tore his UCL. He's getting Tommy John. And they still have the third best or second best ERA plus in all of Major League Baseball history. Think about this. They're losing aces, guys they relied upon to be anchors in the rotation, to be in Cy Young discussions, to finish top 5 or 6 in Major League Baseball in wins above replacement for pitchers. These are guys they're losing left and right, and they correct it and they fix it. And it's not an issue for them. How many position players the Astros lost, or star players? Garrett Cole to us, George Springer to the Blue Jays, Carlos Correa to the Twins. And how are they doing? They have great production from their team. They're the best team in the American League. So again, I just don't understand how this team can consistently come into every single season flawed. And we're sitting here talking every year about, oh, damn, we just came up short. What could have been? If only we did this. If only we did that. These are obvious moves you make as a general manager. If you think you need a center fielder, go get a center fielder. Don't get a guy in a walking boot. If you need a shortstop, go get a shortstop. Don't get a guy who's barely taller than me to go have 1 or 2 barrels for an entire season. If you wanted a guy who couldn't hit and you didn't want to pay him, you know what? I think I can get through 100 games for you at shortstop. So, my point is, you don't see good organizations you don't see elite top of the line organizations spending top dollar doing things like this. The Yankees need to do better. They need to be better. The players need to be better. The managing needs to be better. The general manager needs to be better. It's a collective organizational effort. And if this team falls short of the American League East and falls short of at least an ALCS appearance, you got to clean house. I like Matt Blake. I think you keep Matt Blake. You can't get rid of him and Sam Bryant. You cannot get rid of those guys. The pitching has been unbelievable. Cannot get rid of those guys. Absolutely not. But you gotta find a new direction as an organization, because this is too many resources. How many top 100 prospects have we traded? 5, 6, something like that. And Gallo and Montas and Rizzo, we traded a ton of guys. So where's the elite star talent, right? Where is the guy to pair with Aaron Judge? Where's this roster that's going to win 100 plus games? I'm not seeing it. So I'm just asking, when am I going to see this elite play from this team that lasts a full season? When am I going to feel like this team is going into October the best team in the American League? Because they haven't been that in forever. They haven't been that since 2009. '09. It's been too long. Things have to change or people have to start getting fired. It's simple as that.
Yeah, I agree, man. Someone's got to be held accountable at some point, guys. But, I'm curious to hear your thoughts below in the YouTube comments, as always, my friends. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Fireside Yankees. Definitely a more pessimistic one, but one that is well-deserved after the past couple of performances from this team and just a demoralizing level of play. But hope you guys had a great weekend, enjoying Labor Day. Tomorrow, we got a game this afternoon. Should be interesting. We need to take a game against the Rays, at least one of them, just to save ourselves from utter demise and falling off this cliff even further. But hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.